Out of the tree of life I just picked me a plum.
We now have 250,000 chips. We're chip leader of the tournament. About 20 people from the money. So we're going to keep the pressure on. Not many top pros, if any at all, at our table. A lot of older guys that are probably going to play really snug. So we're going to apply the pressure and really try to chip up to attack the money bubble and secure a big stack for the final table. The blinds are 1,000, 2,000 with a 300 ante, and we're under the gun with King 4 of diamonds. So you know we're raising it up. 4,500 to go. The button calls and everybody else folds. The flop comes. Ace, King, Deuce with the deuce of hearts. So we put in a very small c-bet for value. 2,500 chips. He calls. The turn is the queen of hearts. We put in another small value bet, hoping to get value from mid pairs, queen 10 type hands, queen jack. We bet 4,500 and he raises to 9,000. A min raise, huh? I don't see that flying anytime soon, so we put in the call and we have devious plans for various rivers. The river is the jack of hearts, which is perfect. It brings 4 to a straight and 3 to the flush. Whatever hand we were priced in calling on the turn, we can now bomb on the river and get him to fold all of his 2-pair combos and possibly even a straight. So we bet 28,000 chips. He has about 80,000 behind. He goes deep in the tank. And he puts in the call. He shows Jack 10 off for the turn straight. In hindsight, I probably should have really bombed the river, put him all in, as I would have gotten a lot more folds in the long run, putting his tournament at risk when he just wouldn't be able to believe, oh, heart came, even though I got a straight, can't be good. Or you're just calling for a chop if I'm value betting a 10. So my one pair of kings did not win, and we're on to the next hand. We lose a small flip and a few other small pots, but we still have a ton of chips with 150,000, and we're going to keep the pressure on. In middle position, we look down at 10-9 offsuit, so we raise it up to 4,500. Folds to the small blind, who's the same villain who called us on the river with the Jack 10 straight. Puts in the call and the big blind folds. The flop comes Ace, Jack, 3, which favors our range. He checks, we bet 4K, and he calls. Put him on a weak ace, maybe a jack, or a Broadway gut shot draw at this point. The turn is a 9, giving us third pair. So he checks, and we decide to put in a value bet. This works in 2 ways. Some of the time he's going to fold his Jack X combos, and other times we get value from his Broadway gutter combos. Queen 10, King 10, stuff like that. So we bet 9K, and he calls. The river is a queen. King 10 gets there, King Queen makes a pair. We can't be ahead of really anything. He checks. We feel his range is fairly capped unless he hit the miracle gut shot on the river. I think he would have check raised any 2-pair combos on the turn. So we got to go big. We got the straight blocker. We got the set of 9s blocker. We bet 30,000 chips, and he goes into the tank again. Putting a lot of pressure on him. This is how you accumulate chips. You got to earn those folds. He calls 30,000 chips and shows Ace 9 offsuit, turn 2 pair, has the top of his range. For some reason he didn't check raise the turn, probably because he views us as a maniac and he's trapping us, but he still didn't like the river. It's unfortunate he had such a good hand, because I feel he'd fold all of his Ace X's and definitely Jack X's after our river bomb. But all in all, I like our play, turning our pair of nines into a bluff.
You came along and everything started into hum.
With blinds at 1200, 2400 with a big $400 ante, we're under the gun with 10-9 offsuit. You know we're raising it up to 5,000, putting the pressure on these guys as the bubble is 10 people away. We get 3 callers. Under the gun +2, button, and big blind. The flop comes. Jack, 9, 7, all hearts. We have the 10 of hearts for middle pair and a straight flush draw. We put out a bet, 7,000 chips for value and protection. First caller calls, the other 2 players fold. The turn is an offsuit 4. Our opponent has about 45,000 behind. I don't think we're going to get him to fold much worse. We're hoping he has something like a weak jack, like queen jack, or the ace of hearts. Stack set up pretty nicely for a check jam to get some fold equity and possibly value if he mistakenly bets his ace of hearts. We check. He bet 17,000. And I mean, we could call, but I think our hand's a little bit too strong and we're out of position. We have some fold equity. Our image is pretty shot, but we got middle pair and a straight flush draw. I think it's pretty safe to go with this one. We have him covered, so we shove all in. He snap calls and shows pocket nines. All right, we need a heart or an 8. The river is a deuce. And we lose another pot, putting us down to 50,000 chips, 20 blinds. Quite the downfall from 250K in a matter of 45 minutes or so. But that's okay. We're going to stay focused and at least hopefully cash.
Still, it's a real good bet. The best is yet to come. Best is yet to come, and babe, won't that be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine.
With blinds at 2,000, 4,000, we're on the stone money bubble. $31 pay, 32 remain. We've been hand for at least 30 minutes, so the tension is high. Action folds to the hijack, who limps for 4,000. The button calls, the small blind completes. We have 100,000 and king 8 off in the big blind. We check it. No reason to get too crazy on the money bubble. The flop comes 8, 6, 4, all diamonds. We do not have a diamond. Small blind
Checks.
bets. I'd rather take the lead and protect our top pair, get some value, or get some folds. Either way is fine. So we bet 12,000. Original limper calls, button folds, and the small blind folds. So we're heads up. The turn is an offsuit king. Great card. As long as my opponent has not flopped a set or a flush, we should be way ahead. He has us covered by about 50K, so I like a check evaluate line here. Either check shove or check call. If we check call, we're going to have to dodge a diamond on the river. And just look for some live reads to see if he has a set or a flush, depending on his sizing and timing. We check. He bets 23,000. So we could check jam for 85,000 for value and protection. Or we could keep the bluffs in his range, his naked aces his pair and flush draw, pair and straight draw combos in there. I don't know how much he thinks that we fear the bubble, but it should be a factor. So we check call. The river is a 6. So the board pairs, but we still have top 2. This eliminates everyone but one of his pocket 6 combos. Could have pocket 4s or pocket 8s, which is less likely. And I doubt he limps pocket kings, but he would limp a lot of suited Broadway type hands that are diamonds. So we check. And before we can check, he goes all in, out of turn. What does this mean? Why would he be so eager to go all in? He knows what positions are, he knows where the button is, he knows where the action is. So the action's now to us, and his bet is binding. If I check, he's all in. If I min bet, he has options. This is a pretty deep spot on the hand-for-hand bubble, so we go into the tank. If I min bet, I think that gives away the fact that I don't want him to jam, and he's just going to jam anyway. If I go all in, I don't think he's going to call with any worse hands than top 2. He could have trip 6s with a 6-7, 6-5 type hand, and I don't see him folding those either. So I don't think shoving or min betting has much merit. A few minutes go by, and I'm really thinking about folding. I can just see him, turning over a flush, and me being the official bubble boy. It doesn't seem like any of the hands at the other tables, anyone's been eliminated. So there's that. But, we play to win. Only thing you can really be bluffing with would be something like 8-7 or the naked ace of diamonds. But I think my hand is just too strong to fold in this situation based on the way we played it. The plan was to check call instead of check jamming the turn. So we got to stick with the plan. We put in the call. He shows ace of diamonds, 10 of clubs. Missed his flush draw. His eagerness to shove the river was a tell. We win a 210,000 chip pot on the money bubble, and we're back in business.
The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come the day you're mine. Come the day